Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Dr. James Naismith is known worldwide as the inventor of basketball. The concept of basketball was born from Naismith's school days in the area where he played a simple child's game known as duck on a rock outside his one-room schoolhouse. James Naismith moved on to the YMCA training school in Springfield, Massachusetts, USA on 1891, where the sport of basketball was born. Basketball was originally played with soccer ball. The first ball made specifically for basketball were brown, and it was only in the late 1950s that Tony Hinkle, searching for a ball that would be more visible to players and spectators alike, introduced the orange ball that is now in common use. Dribbling was not part of the original game except for the bounce pass of teammates. Passing the ball was the primary means of ball movement. This is how FIBA originated. On June 18, 1932, Argentina, Czechoslovakia, Greece, Italy, Latvia, Portugal, Romania, and Switzerland founded the International Basketball Federation known as FIBA in Geneva. In Europe, in 1909, the first international match was played in Russia. Mayak St. Petersburg beat a YMCA American team. The Globetrotters. Basketball became popular because of the Harlem Globetrotters. The Globetrotters were created in Harlem in 1927. They were an all-Negro team which toured the world to promote basketball. How the NBA was formed. In 1946, the Basketball Association of America or BAA was formed, but it did not go well because it was competing against the National Basketball League or NBL. But in 1949, the BBA and the NBL joined together. They changed their name to the National Basketball Association or NBA. Now let's move on to the equipment of basketball. First is basketball court. It is a flat rectangular surface with basket at opposite ends. Next equipment is the basket. The basket is a steel rim and 18 inches diameter with an attached net affixed to a background that measures 6 feet by 3.5 feet, and one basket is at each end of a court. The white outlined box on the backboard is 18 inches high and 2 feet wide. Also in basketball, we need an official. An official is a person who has the responsibility to impose the rules and maintain the order of the game. The first official are the referee. There are two kinds of referees, cruise ship and umpires. Cruise ship, the lead officials usually performs the jump ball. The umpires, aka referees, with the lead official only that they are only assistant. The whistle are used by the referees. Next is the scorer, the one who will record the points, violations, and fouls gained by each team. Uses score sheet for documentary purposes and a scoreboard for letting the teams know about their status on the game. And this is how the score sheet looks like. Next, scoreboard can be seen from far away. Sometimes it was written on the board or shown on the screen. Next is the timekeepers, responsible for monitoring the time of the game. The nature of the game basketball. A field goal scores 2 points for the shooting team if a player is touching or closing to the basket, then the 3-point line, and 3 points known commonly as a 3-pointer or 3 if the player is behind the 3-point line. The team with the most points at the end of the game wins, but additional time or overtime may be used when the game ends with a draw. Basic skills and structure of basketball. First is positioning, second shooting, third rebounding, fourth passing, fifth dribbling, and sixth blocking. The first basic skills and structure is positions. Since the 1980s, more specific positions have evolved, namely point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. During the first 5 decades of basketball's evolution, 1 guard, 2 forwards, and 2 centers or 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center were used. This is how the positioning looks like. The first position is the point guard, usually the fastest player on the team. Organizes the team's offense by controlling the ball and making sure that it gets to the right player at the right time. The second position is the shooting guard. Creates a high volume of shots on offense, mainly long range, and guard the opponent's best perimeter on defense. The third position is the small forward, often primarily responsible for scoring points via cuts to the basket and dribble penetration. On offense, 6 rebounds and steals, but sometimes play more actively. The fourth position is the power forward. Plays offensive often with their back to the basket. On defense, plays under the basket in a zone defense or against the opposing power forward in man-to-man defense. And the last but not the least position is the center. Uses height and size to score on offense, to protect the basket closely on defense, or to rebound. Second basic skills or structure is the shooting. It is the act of attempting to score points by throwing the ball through the basket. Methods varying players and situation. A player places a basket with both feet facing the basket. A player will rest the ball on the fingertips of a dominant hand or the shooting arm is slightly above the head with the other hand supporting the side of the ball. The ball is usually shot by jumping, true but not always, and extending the shooting arm. The shooting arm, fully extended with the wrist bent, is held stationary for a moment following the release of the ball, known as a follow-through. Players may shoot directly into the basket or may use the backboard to redirect the ball into the basket. There are 3 types of shooting: jump shot, layup, and slam dunk. The third and basic skills and structures is the rebounding. The objective of rebounding is to successfully gain possession of the basketball after a missed goal or free throw as it's rebound from the hoop or backboard. This plays major role in the game as most possession ends when a team misses a shot. There are 2 categories in rebounding: offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds. Offensive rebound in which the ball is recovered by the offensive side and does not change possession. Defensive rebound in which the defending team gains possession of the lost ball. The fourth basic skills and structure is passing, a method of moving the ball between the players. Most passes are accompanied by a step forward to increase power and are followed through with the hands to enhance accuracy. There are 6 types of pass: chest pass, bound pass, overhead pass, outlet pass, no-look pass, and behind the back pass. Chest pass. The ball is passed directly from the passer's chest to the receiver's chest. A proper chest pass involves an outward snap of the thumbs to add velocity and leaves the defense little time to react. The second one is the bounce pass. Over the head pass. Used to pass the ball over a defender. The ball is released while over the passer's head. Outlet pass. Occurs after a team gets a defensive rebound next pass after rebounding. No-look pass. A special way of doing this is passing the ball without looking at the receiving teammate. Behind the back pass. Advanced style of passing the ball. Involves throwing the ball behind the passer's back to a teammate. The fifth basic skills and structures is dribbling. The act of bouncing the ball continuously with one hand, and is a requirement for a player to take steps with the ball. A player pushes the ball down towards the ground with the fingertips rather than patting it. This ensures greater control. The last is blocking. Performed when after a shot is attempted, a defender succeeds in altering the shot by touching the ball. And now let's move on to the fouls, violation, and various time restrictions. Next is fouls or personal fouls. Holding foul. When a player uses their hands to grab their opponent to impede or prevent them from moving or advancing with or without the ball. Illegal or moving pick screen foul. When a player fails to maintain a set position while setting a screen or pick, screens must be performed in a standstill manner. Hand check foul. When a player continually uses their hands on an opposing player, this foul is typically called on defenders at the perimeter to keep a safe distance between the ball handler and the basket. Illegal hand use or reaching in foul. Similar to holding, this is when a player uses their hands in a fashion that referees deem illegal, typically in the form of touching a shooter's arm or hand through their release or touching after an attempted steal. Tripping foul. When a player uses their leg or foot to throw off their opponent's balance. Elbowing foul. When a player excessively swings their elbows and hits another player. Charging foul. When an offensive player makes contact with a defender who has established position in front of an offensive player with or without the basketball and is not moving. Some courts, especially those used for youth basketball, make this call easier to identify by having a charged circle marked below the basket. If a defender is outside the circle with their feet planted, it is a charge. Blocking foul. When a defender makes contact with an offensive player without establishing position, without giving proper space, or is in the charged circle. Technical foul. When a player or coach displays unsportsmanlike behavior such as foul language, obscene gestures, or arguing, though technical fouls will result in ejection from the game. Flagrant foul. When a player performs an act of violence that can seriously injure or harm others on the court. This can be unintentional or deliberate. Flagrant fouls can also result in player ejections at the referee's direction. Second is the violations. Traveling violation. When a player takes more than 2 steps between dribbles or without dribbling the basketball, traveling can also occur when a player who has picked up the dribble switches his or her pivot foot. Palming violation. When a player dribbles the basketball in a manner that has their palm too far to the side or underneath the basketball. Double dribble violation. When a player picks up their dribble to establish their position and then restarts their dribble, or when a player dribbles the basketball with 2 hands or at the same time. Held ball violation. When 2 players gain possession of the ball and a brief battle for the basketball occurs, the referee will award possession to the one team, alternating which team gets the ball each subsequent time it occurs. Backcourt or over back. When an offensive player brings the basketball over the half-court line and then retreats back over mid-court during their possession. Kicking violation. When a player kicks the basketball. Free throw violations. Every player must remain in place until the ball is shot by the free throw shooter. If the offense travels into the free throw lane prior to the shooter's release of the ball, then the shot does not count. If the defense ventures into the free throw lane too early, then another shot attempt is awarded to the shooter if they miss. And the various time restriction violation are the 3-second violation. Offensive players cannot stand in the scheme for more than 3 seconds. 5-second violation when inbounding. A player must inbound the basketball within 5 seconds after the referee hands it to them to avoid a turnover. 5 seconds violation when a team is unoffensive. An offensive player must pass, shoot, or dribble the basketball within 5 seconds if being guarded by a defensive player who is within arm's reach. 10 seconds violation. Players must advance the basketball over the mid-court line within 10 seconds to avoid a turnover. That's all. Thank you. I'm Janet Bibila from Bised English 2.